Hey everybody, it's Marshall Monk here, and yes, this is gonna be it. The Flash Season 3, Episode 8 review, the crossover. I loved this episode. It was flawless. I think that this episode was so great and so amazing and spectacular that I couldn't ask for a better episode. I mean, this crossover was basically Justice League for the CW TV verse, and I thought it was excellent. I thought it was well handled. Every character got a little bit of time that they needed. I mean, honestly, it's a crossover with a span of episodes, so we'll see more of what's going on in the future with some of the other characters that we haven't seen yet. But the main characters really well. So I love how they kind of bring the team together. Like they go, Barry goes to Star City to get Team Arrow, and then they contact the Legends. We see the scene where he goes to Supergirl's Earth, which is Earth 38, and gets Kara. So we see all these things happen again, and then some of the new stuff like Team Arrow stuff, which I thought was really interesting. I actually love how he brings everybody together. It's just, again, it's really perfect of how that happens, and I thought that was really well handled. But I think my favorite thing about it is just seeing them visit Kara's Earth, and seeing them lead up to that, because we didn't see what happened before Barry and Cisco visited. So Cisco still really upset about what's happening with Barry. We'll talk more about that later on, especially now that we know even more about what's going on with Barry and the Stein Jax storyline from Legends, which we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, I thought that was really cool to see them bring everyone together. And at the Hall of Justice, hello? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, the Hall of Justice. Huge comic book Easter egg. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I think that one of my favorite things is obviously roping in the storylines. Vigilante had a cameo. We actually saw that with Damien Dark in the last crossover when Barry came to see Oliver. So I like how they kind of rope in the storylines a little bit with having the Arrow villains cameo. So Vigilante made a really small cameo this episode, which I thought was also really cool. I like the reaction. I like when Barry speeds them out of there and gets back to the apartment, and Diggle literally throws up over the balcony. That was amazing because I love Oliver's reaction. Oliver gets this way every time Barry comes to see him, which is really cool. So I thought that was also really interesting. Barry and Oliver obviously having a great time together. They always, click really well. But I think that it was really cool seeing more of the members. Like I said, we kind of rope in the storylines a little bit. So with the Stein, Jax message that they had revealed, it was cool to see that Sarah was all we're fighting these apparitions, but you're causing them. So it's really cool to see that kind of thrown at them as well as a team. I do like having Kara there to kind of take over. Kara's kind of after the Flash and Arrow. Who's next? Supergirl, obviously, after Flash and Green Arrow. And again, I think that it's really interesting that they are keeping roping in everything. Killer Frost, we know that Caitlin has been talking about Killer Frost in this episode with Dr. Stein. So we know that that's not going away. We know that storyline's going to keep resurfacing. And then they also talk about Cisco, his beef with Barry. Cisco is still really mad. I kind of wish Cisco would get over it, but, after hearing about the Stein message, the Stein Jax message from Barry in the future, still got to be mad at him. I think that the heart of this episode was really good. I like all of them meeting each other, really having them speak. Again, it's like a Justice League. So I think that having the scene with Kara, my favorite scene in the episode was when Kara was why is your name Heatwave? And he's like, I burned my family alive, and I like to set things on fire. I laughed so hard. I was like, yes. So I thought that was also really great. So again, a lot of heart in this episode. Everyone meeting each other, very much like a Justice League would be like. And now we have to talk about the Hall of Justice. So apparently it's a hangar type thing used by Star Labs. Barry owns it. So I guess that's the Hall of Justice. I mean, it obviously needs a lot of work and a lot of cleaning, a lot of reorganizing. But yeah, it's a Hall of Justice for right now, and I think that that's really special. So we'll see that probably pop up again next crossover. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll turn it into a base for the Legends in next season. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. The new, technically Justice Society, location. I don't know. Again, the Legends were nice to have in this episode, too. Not just Heatwave, but having, Sarah in was really nice. I hope Sarah gets a little bit more screen time later on. I mean, obviously, Legends, they'll probably, the Legends Tomorrow episode, they'll probably get more time. Now, I do like the fact that the Dominators were really good alien villains this episode. I thought they were handled really well in this episode. Not too much, but not too little. I like the whole president abduction thing. That was really cool. And I like seeing this group here, like Supergirl and all the others, being mind controlled to go up against Oliver and Barry. And I like how Wally tried to jump in, and obviously it didn't work out well. And you'd think after Wally got his butt kicked, he'd be like, maybe I do need a little bit more time. I mean, he's going to be trained by HR, but it's like, maybe you should rethink that. Maybe reconsider it. Oh, and this is the scene where Kara talks to Heatwave. I love this scene so much. I think it's so great. So I think that was really cool to get that moment too with Wally. And again, they're roping that storyline in. I think that they did a good job with keeping everything served, like the Killer Frost, the Cisco storyline, the Wally storyline. Everything is roped in at a good, like Vigilante. Like everything's just put into good space, like good. Everything gets its moment, I think. And I think that it's really great for the writers to have a challenge like this, to have so many of these characters. Even Thea gets some with the Legends. Like, even Thea gets some time with the Legends, as you can see here in this clip that she's going to be popping up in a second. So, I thought it was really cool that everything just roped in really nicely. And that was great. Overall, I do think that the crossover worked. I think that it was a really, like, we're not done with the crossover, but I think it worked really well with starting off. I think that grabbing the group was great. I think that putting the band back together was awesome. On Arrow, they're doing things a little bit differently because it's the 100th episode. I think that Arrow is a little bit more slower paced. I think that this episode of The Flash was a lot faster paced, but at the same time didn't rush anything. And I think that that's what I liked so much about it. So, yeah, everything. I think my favorite part would definitely have to be that fight scene, like with Supergirl and meeting, Heatwave and all that. Like, that was my favorite scene. Just seeing that group with like Ray in it, Thea, Firestorm, White Canary, like all of them in a group together was really cool. I also like the training session. How Oliver just couldn't beat Kara because Kara's Supergirl, and he was like, "Don't go easy, especially on me." So I thought that was great too. So what do you guys think of the crossover? Like, was it your favorite crossover yet? Because it is mine. I think again it was great roping in the storylines, and thumbs up for everything all around. So thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye.